Hello friends, good afternoon and welcome to Recite Live Lectures. Dear friends, as you know that we've started a series on religion, society and culture in Indian history. And today we're conducting yet another lecture in the same series. In today's lecture, we will try to understand Gandhi and his understanding of religion and Hind Swaraj unraveled. To discuss this topic, we have with us our subject expert, Mrs. Nuti Namita. Mrs. Namita has over 10 years of teaching experience, and she has been associated with University of Delhi in various teaching capacities. Without further ado, I would like to welcome ma'am to our studios and request her to start the lecture. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you. Good afternoon. This lecture which I am going to give is a part of the broader series on religion, society and culture. Earlier also once I had given a lecture talked about 1857 rebellion and its origin and the role of religion in the origin of 1857 movement. Today I am going to talk about Gandhi and his understanding of religion, and in the second section I am going to talk about Hind Swaraj and unravel the understanding of Hind Swaraj in a detailed manner. Gandhi and his understanding of religion. For Gandhi, religion was very central to him. In fact, it provided a path for spiritual and ethical life. And he believed that religion provided the base for everything, for his thought, for his life, for his work. Religion was the base. Many historians and scholars have actually criticized Gandhi for mixing religion with politics. In fact, Gandhi was very clear that if religion is brought into the realm of politics, then politics would benefit from it. In fact, he believed in spiritual politics, and he thought that the morality which is gained through religion is going to help in political endeavors. He was a student of the philosophy of religion, and he tried to practice what he believed. And his concept of religion kept on changing over a period of time, and it changed according to the context also. But some of his concepts of religion were very fundamental to him. He held them very close to his heart. First of all, Gandhi considered himself as a devout Hindu. He was born into a Hindu family, and his parents, although were followers of Vaishnava sect of Hinduism, they were open-minded enough to intermix with people belonging to other faiths and other communities. Thus, Gandhi grew up to be an eclectic in his viewpoint, and this of course influenced his thinking in future in a big way. Gandhi also realized that Hinduism had an immense capacity to assimilate ideas from other religions and incorporate it itself. Thus, Hinduism, he felt, had a rich tradition. He felt that Hinduism was a very tolerant religion, most tolerant religions of all. However, he was not blind to certain limitations of Hinduism. In fact, he never hesitated to criticize them as well. So, the institution of untouchability for Gandhi was a very abhorrent practice which he wanted to abolish and get rid of, and he fought against untouchability all his life. He felt that untouchability was a very he believed that untouchability was it made Hinduism very polluted and rotten, and unless untouchability was removed, Hinduism will also rot. Okay, that was his belief. However, one thing which was very clear to Gandhi was that he did not want people to convert themselves, the Dalits to convert themselves to other religions in order to better their lives. He wanted to transform Hinduism from within. He wanted to abolish untouchability in the institution of Hinduism. Okay, so that was his concept. He also believed in the concept of gender equality. He condemned child marriage, dowry, parda, and the inhuman treatment of widows. He actually vehemently he felt that women were not as subordinates to men. They were actually companions of men, and they should be treated respectfully. They should be a part and parcel of the social and political life of India. So he wanted to raise their status. Gandhi also vehemently opposed cruelty to animals. In fact, he was very much critical of the animal sacrifice which was practiced in temples to please a deity. And in fact, he was very much opposed to that, and therefore he also stopped drinking milk altogether. And it was only on Kasturba's insistence that that too when he was very critically ill, that he started drinking goat's milk. And so this concept of non-violence to animals, this concept of not killing animals was derived from both Hinduism and Jainism. However, he was pragmatic enough to understand the reality, and when an animal was in pain, he did not hesitate to kill the animal also. In fact, there is a instance where he shot down a cow calf, and which is considered as a great sin in Hinduism. He shot down a cow calf to rid the animal of his pain. He was in immense pain, and he could not see the animal in so much of pain, and that's why he shot it dead. Okay, so this kindness to animals was very Western in outlook and modern in outlook. Okay. Gandhi was also he believed that he was very clear that he reinterpreted, defined and impacted Hinduism, and he gave a very novel orientation to it with his seva marg, that is the path of duty and path of service, which added a new dimension to the three traditional paths of Hinduism, that is the path of Gyan, path of Bhakti, path of Karma. Okay, which means that the path of knowledge, path of activity, and path of devotion, which are the three traditional paths to achieve salvation. And he added a new path, that is of seva marg. That was his reinterpretation of Hinduism. He also was very respectful to other religions. His belief was derived from the concept of sarva dharma sambhava, that is equal respect for all religions. He believed that all religions espoused the values of truth and non-violence. All religions had a sound basis, okay, and they actually were adequate to consider the requirements of a man who are born into that religion. Okay, so he actually did not hesitate to learn about other religions. He got inspired. He took good elements which were according to his inner beliefs. He took those elements from other religions and incorporated it into his daily life. So he studied both Quran and Bible. In fact, he said that in the Quran it is non-violence is enjoined as a duty, okay, and violence is permitted only as a necessity. Okay. And he also admired the egalitarian spirit of Quran. Okay, so he was impressed by Quran. He read Bible when he was a law student in England, and he was quite captivated with the New Testament, especially the Sermon on the Mount, and he took to his heart, it went straight to his heart, the concept of returning love for hate, the concept of good for evil. Okay, so these were the elements which he tried to incorporate, and he believed that all the religions, they advocated love, they advocated truth, they advocated non-violence to other human beings. Okay, so but he also believed that all religions are divinely inspired. A religion means a belief in an ordered moral governance of the universe, which overflows into love for others and a life of service for poor. Okay, so that true religion, it actually is very, very different. It is not restricted to one religion itself. It is universal, and it transcends all the boundaries established by particular religions. Okay. And he was very much his mentor as far as his religious beliefs are concerned was his friend Rajchandra Jain. He was a businessman, Rajchandra Jain, and he also died very early at the age of 33. But through letters, Rajchandra Jain inspired Gandhi in his religious beliefs to a great extent. And Rajchandra Jain said that any kind of spiritual pursuit is useless unless we can transfer those beliefs into day-to-day practice of life. Okay, so unless it can be incorporated into the daily life of a man or a person, that is not a true religion. So he was very much, Gandhi followed that dictum to the last letter. Okay, and so he respected all religions, and but the most important scripture which impacted Mahatma Gandhi was the Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita impacted him a lot, and especially the three values which are there in Bhagavad Gita, the value of aparagriha, the value of nishkam karma, the value of samabhav. These three values influenced the life, the philosophy, the ideas of Gandhi in a big way. It influenced the religious beliefs of Gandhi in a big way, and in fact it also translated into his socio-political strategy to a great extent. Aparagriha meant non-possession. So he said, Gandhi said that you should get rid of all material possessions, because they cramped your spirit. Okay, and you should be away from the bonds of property, of wealth, of sex, and also you should act as a trustee, and not as an owner of all those things which you cannot discard. This was the concept of non-possession, that was the concept of aparigriha. The other concept of nishkam karma, which meant detached activity. And it also he says that it meant that you should work without the fruit of success, without the outcome of success, or without the fear of failure. You should not be swayed by the fruits of whatever you are doing. Your actions, if they are resulting in any kind of outcome, that should not determine your action. You should keep on doing your activity in spite and despite what the result might be. And the third one was samabhav, which meant equability. Equability meant that you should not be flustered or ruffled by pain or pleasure, by good times or bad times. So you should be calm in every situation. You should not be very happy when it's good tidings, or you should not be crying, and you should not be very sad when the times is not going good for you. Okay, so he told that you have to keep a kind of stableness in your outer behavior. It's strange as it may sound, Gandhi also found support for his very important strategy of satyagraha in the Gita itself. Okay, for him, truth was the ultimate reality. Earlier, he has said that God is love, but he found it too ambiguous. Then he tried to say that God is truth, which he later on reversed as truth is God. So truth for Gandhi was equal to attaining God. Okay, and this was the absolute truth. And satyagraha was the strategy for achieving political emancipation and moral regeneration of the Indians. Okay, so this truth force, that is the satyagraha, also found its seeds in the Gita for Gandhi. For Gandhi felt that Mahabharata very clearly showed the futility of violence. And he also said that it is not right to interpret Gita in the traditional sense of Lord Krishna giving instruction to Arjuna to go out and fight against his cousins, to wage a war against his cousins at the battle of Kurukshetra. In fact, he says that it is actually a battle between good and evil which rages in every heart. Okay, and he also brings out how the destruction caused by the violence in the war actually made no sense at all. No, it was universal destruction, the same for the victors as well as for the vanquished, and it was the futility of the war and the futility of the violence which was brought very much out in the clearly in the Gita, and therefore non-violence, which Gandhi was very committed to, it found its support in the Gita. Okay, and as far as cultural matters is concerned, Gandhi believed that it is all right to assimilate different cultural elements from different cultures. Okay, and but it is very important also to retain the uniqueness of a particular culture. So he said that we can incorporate in our culture, in our religion, in our thinking, in our way of life, different elements from other systems, but we have to make sure that we retain our uniqueness and our identity. Okay, so he also said that religious practices had to be subjected to the test of reason. Okay, religion has to be humane, it has to be cosmopolitan, it has to look after the moral and spiritual needs of a man. You know, if the religion prescribed inhumanity, if the religion prescribed cruelty to man, then that religion was no good. Okay, so for him that was a very important aspect of a religion. So for Gandhi, any kind of political, economic and social dimensions are inseparable from the religions. You know, religion is like a fountain from which several of Gandhi's socio-political ideas flowed. His unwavering belief in the principles of Satya and Ahimsa would provide Gandhi with indispensable tools for formulating his socio-political strategy. Religion was the foundation for Gandhi's relationship to the world. It was a very humanist and cosmopolitan approach which Gandhi espoused and was committed to. Thank you. How much? Good afternoon again. In this section of the lecture, I will be continuing on Gandhi itself and now I will be discussing about Hind Swaraj unraveled. Okay, and in this we will try to understand how Hind Swaraj formed the basis of Gandhi's political, social and economic ideas. Okay, what was Hind Swaraj all about? Okay, what was the importance of Hind Swaraj and how relevant Hind Swaraj is in today's world? We will understand what all concepts, what all ideas and views Gandhi has discussed in the book Hind Swaraj. Okay, so we'll start with the lecture of Hind Swaraj Unraveled. Hind Swaraj is a very short book which is written by Gandhi in 1909 and it forms the foundational text for Gandhi's political, socio-political and economic ideas. In fact, the concept of state, society and the nation is discussed very clearly in a systemic manner in the Hind Swaraj. It is in the Hind Swaraj that we find Gandhi mentioning for the first time his life mission. The life mission of Gandhi was the moral regeneration of of the Indians and also the political emancipation of man. We need to understand Hind Swaraj by placing it in its proper context. It was written in 1909 when colonialism was at its height, when the British Empire spread to the length and breadth of the globe. The British Empire was an empire where the sun never set. Okay, so Hind Swaraj was written in that context where India was grappling with colonialism, with poverty, with inequality and all the miserable conditions of colonized country. Dalton has called Hind Swaraj as a proclamation of ideological independence. B.R. Nanda, he is saying about Hind Swaraj as his confession of faith, and for Erickson it is rather a incendiary manifesto, and John Middleton Murray has described it as a spiritual classic. Hind Swaraj or Indian Home Rule, the English term for Hind Swaraj is, actual translation of Hind Swaraj is the Indian Home Rule, is a small book of around 30,000 words, that is comes to almost 96 pages. It was first written in Gujarati on board a ship in which Gandhi was travelling from London to South Africa. He was returning from London to South Africa. It was written in 10 days only in November 1909. And the pace of writing was frantic. The flow of ideas was relentless. Gandhi wrote as if he was inspired. Okay, the book first appeared serially in the Indian Opinion, and later it was published in a book form only to be banned by the then government of the Bombay Presidency, which found the matters in Hind Swaraj too seditious for them, and therefore the ban was there, and the ban was only lifted in 1938. Hind Swaraj has been written in a traditional dialogue form. Okay, the method was influenced by Plato's The Republic, and also influenced by the dialogue between Arjun and Lord Krishna in the Gita. Okay, and the text of Hind Swaraj is divided into 20 small chapters. The first 3 chapters form a kind of a background or an introduction to the actual content of Hind Swaraj, and the next 16 chapters express the different views and ideas of Mahatma Gandhi. The last chapter is actually shows a way forward for India. You know, it is a kind of summary for what the future of India should be. So, as far as Hind Swaraj is concerned, it is it's a remarkable book, and it is a constructive and inward looking book which is based on ethical and moral values. Okay, and it asks a lot of questions. It raises many questions. It raises the question, like Gandhi asked the questions like, what is Swaraj? What does it actually mean? Why is India a subject nation? Okay, what is modern civilization, and how modern civilization is proving to be harmful, especially for the colonized country. So we will discuss it in that manner. Rudolf C. Heredia has listed three elements of modern civilization which he feels that should be made clear as a part of Hind Swaraj. Why Gandhi gave a very important critique of modern civilization, how modern civilization was leading to moral decay of humans. He believed that true civilization was based on truth, on morality, on spirituality, and this modern civilization thus was trying to eradicate all those values. And why was this modern civilization leading to this kind of decay, moral decay? And Rudolf C. Heredia has listed 3 elements, and this is: first is colonial imperialism, second is industrial capitalism, and the third is rationalist materialism. Okay, so colonial imperialism for Gandhi, of course, Gandhi believed that Britain has colonized India. He also believed that we have given India to the Britishers. It is not the other way around, that the Britishers have not taken India because of their strength. It is because we have allowed them to keep it. No, and he says that unless we change our attitude, unless we get rid of colonialism mentally first, we won't be able to remove colonial power from our country as well. So, freedom from colonialism can only be got when we overcome it mentally first. British colonialism in India was justified first on a civilizing ground. It was felt that Britishers and the whites and the civilized people of the West have come to civilize the natives, the natives as the white man's burden, as it were. In rejecting this modern civilization, Gandhi is actually attacking the core of colonialism. He is attacking the legitimacy of the colonial powers to civilize India. Okay, and he also felt that colonialism cannot be sustained by brute force alone. The British had colonized India, but they have the strength, they have the military power. However, they cannot sustain colonialism just on their strength, on their brute force. If the Indians decide it mentally to get rid of colonialism, then it was easy for them to become free. Gandhi also criticized modern civilization to a great extent. Modern civilization, which is produced by industrial revolution, he is very clear about the modern civilization. He says that this modern civilization, because industrial revolution happened in the West, it started in the West first, therefore this modern civilization is Western in its origin, and this modern civilization actually makes a man prisoner of his craving for luxury items and of craving for it. It actually gives him, makes him greedy and self-indulgent, thus releasing the forces of unbridled competition and thereby bringing poverty, war, hunger and other things and suffering to the people. It is precisely because modern civilization looks at man as a limitless consumer, as a consummate consumer, and thus it allows the floodgates of industrial goods, that it also becomes the source of inequality, oppression and violence, which has been hitherto unknown in the history of mankind. So this is not true civilization, this is modern civilization which breeds inequality, which breeds inhuman treatment of human beings, of the fellow beings. It breeds violence, it also breeds poverty. True civilization, according to Gandhi, would carry man towards peace, it would carry man towards harmony and towards love and compassion. Civilization is that mode of conduct which points out to the man the path of duty. So Gandhi is talking about civilization, the true civilization, in the chapter 13 of Hind Swaraj. Industrial capitalism, and Gandhi lays the blame for colonialism on the doors of capitalism. Lenin has also espoused that imperialism was the highest stage of capitalism. Gandhi's rejection of capitalism is based on an insightful reversion for a system where profit is allowed to degrade labor, where machines are valued more than humans. The issue of machinery is raised in chapter 19 of Hind Swaraj. He asserts that machinery is the chief symbol of Western civilization. No, it represents, he actually equates machinery with a sin. Okay, he is very clear that it is the machinery which has impoverished millions of Indians and has destroyed the livelihood of so many Indians. Of course, he says that how machines have displaced human labor, how machines have made the livelihood, the employment of many men employed in their handicraft production, etc., jobless, and how this has led to their economic miserable conditions. It has also led to destroying human dignity and personal freedom in this process. He is very critical, Gandhi is very critical of the professions of law and medicine. In the chapters 12 and 13 of Hind Swaraj, Gandhi criticizes the two professions of medicine and law. In fact, Gandhi himself was a lawyer, but he feels that the lawyers are the culprits who have impoverished and helped in the colonization of the country. He feels that lawyers have enslaved India and have accentuated Hindu-Muslim dissensions and have confirmed to the English authority. He feels that for the sake of money, the lawyers have also compromised on their integrity, on their loyalty to the nation, and they don't even hesitate to create rift on religious grounds just to make more and more money. It's even on the case of hospitals and doctors, he feels that hospitals and doctors propagate sin, and they are no use to the poor man of the country. They take so much of money and just for the sake of it, they don't help the poor. They serve only the rich people of the country. Gandhi has also attacked the institution of railways. He says that railways have helped to a great extent in the colonization, in the colonialism, in the spread of colonialism in India. He feels that railways spread, they spread diseases, contagious diseases in the length and breadth of country, and they have assisted colonization of India by making it possible transportation of raw materials from the hinterland of India to the coastal areas to be shipped off then to Britain to feed its teeming industries. Okay, and likewise, railways also distributes the English industrial manufactured goods to the interiors of India, thus destroying the livelihood and ruining several millions of artisans and their handicraft ware. So railways in that sense, in fact, Gandhi traveled by rail a lot. In fact, he took a kind of a whole India journey, and this was done on the railways itself. But still, he feels that the negative aspects of railways overshadow the positives of railways. In fact, he feels that the positives of binding the country, of making distance shorter, etc., are overshadowed by its negative aspects of spreading colonialism in India. The third thing which he talks about in Hind Swaraj is the rationalist materialism, and he speaks that uncompromising rationalism, which is exemplified by science and technology, and it is also aided by science and technology, leads to truncated humanism. Truncated humanism. So he says that just as dirt is matter displaced, reason misplaced is lunacy. Okay, so he is advocating reason, that we should have faith in the reason. We should not act, we should be reasonable, but to a certain extent. We should not go beyond a certain, beyond a limit. Okay, and that's what he's saying. Humanism is more important than reason. Okay, and he would also test his faith with reason. It's not that his religion was based on faith, but he also discarded those elements which he found unreasonable, which he found inhuman, which he found to be dehumanizing. Okay, so he would test his faith with reason, but he would not allow this reason to destroy his faith. Okay, so this is very, very important, that reason has also harmed in another way, and that is in producing a very, very rampant materialism. Okay, so materialism, the quest for material goods, the greed for material goods, for goods, industrial goods, it is harming the society, it is harming the humanity. Okay. And he also talks about certain other concepts which were held very, very dear to Gandhi, and he in fact gives a radical interpretation to these terms, not in the traditional sense of the term, but in a very novel way he interprets them. Thus, the first thing which he tries to define is Swaraj. You know, Swaraj, he actually means two parallel systems. One is self-rule and the other is self-government. Self-rule for Gandhi, it actually means self-control, control over one's passion, control over one's greed. Okay, so self-control is very important. It is for the individual to have that kind of control, and self-government actually translates into local self-government. Okay, so essential to both these meanings of the term Swaraj is an element of self-respect. No, you have to have that kind of dignity, that kind of respect for yourself to understand the full meaning, full interpretation of the term Swaraj. Okay. Gandhi's answer to colonial rule was also freedom, freedom for self-realization, freedom for all, freedom for the toiling masses. Okay. So he is, in this sense, it becomes very clear that for Gandhi, Sarvodaya was actually the perfect system which Gandhi was aiming at. By patriotism, he said that by patriotism I mean the welfare of the whole people. In chapter 15 of Hind Swaraj, he is talking about Sarvodaya and talking about patriotism. Okay, he feels that patriotism does not mean only national pride, it means welfare for all. So, for him, Swaraj was not which has to be given by the leaders, either British or native leaders. It has to be taken by the people, okay, and by people themselves. So, self-reliance becomes an important aspect of Swaraj. And it is in this context that Gandhi popularized khadi and charkha. Okay, so for Gandhi, khadi is the symbol of the unity of Indian humanity, of its economic freedom and equality. And Gandhi also lays very important stress on the path of duty. The basis then of this Swaraj could not be just rights. It had to be duties as well. For Gandhi, real rights are legitimized by duties. The next concept which Gandhi again reinterprets is the term of Swadeshi. Swadeshi, which emerged as a kind of means of struggle against the British colonialism during the partition of Bengal days in 1905, it finds a kind of a different meaning in Hind Swaraj by Gandhi. And Swadeshi for Gandhi was a means to achieve Swaraj. For a quest of Swaraj, Swadeshi was to be used. It is a kind of commitment of the individual to his own country, to his desh, not country, not in the sense of the Western concept of nation, but to his immediate community. Gandhi idealized rural life. He felt that the villages were the center of all the things in India. Okay, so that has to be made the center. As he used the term village, Gandhi implied not an entity but a set of values. And Gandhi preferred rural over the urban because he was vying for and trying for a minimal state. He wanted the centralized state apparatus not to appropriate the rights and the community of the local community and the individual. His Swadeshi related more to ethics than to politics. The next concept is of Satyagraha. Satyagraha was a mode of struggle. Satyagraha was a mode of struggle to fight against political and social oppression. Okay, so he was this Satyagraha, this concept of Satyagraha was rooted in morality. It was based on the premise of truth, on the premise of non-violence and openness. For Gandhi, truth was not a matter of theory. It was a matter of practice. And Satyagraha could be nothing moral, it could be only moral or nothing. It was a form of struggle in which Gandhi could lose all the battles but still win the war. And Gandhi operationalized his quest for truth in his strategy of Satyagraha, that is truth force. The Satyagraha was not just a political strategy, it was both means and ends. It was both a means and an ends, okay, and it was a method of dialogue between the two contesting parties who come together and discuss the matter, and not only come into a deeper understanding of each other and agreement, but also a deeper understanding of the truth. But Satyagraha was also a political strategy. In Swaraj, Gandhi defines passive resistance in chapter 12 of Hind Swaraj, and he defines passive resistance as a method of securing rights by personal suffering. Okay. So, when Hind Swaraj, so these are some of the concepts which have been discussed in this book, in very small book, but when it came out in the public domain for the first time, it was not taken to kindly by many people, especially by the British, but even some Indians did not like it. In fact, it was banned for a period of time. However, Hind Swaraj is very, very relevant, especially in today's world. His criticism of modern civilization and capitalism, consumerism, which increases inequality, unemployment, and violence and wars. It is very relevant. We have to re-look at some of his concept and craze for machinery. In fact, he also talked about cultures to be enriched by each other without losing their unique identity. But it is very important, significant, especially in this age where wars are fought on the grounds of race, caste, religion, etc. And we have to re-examine his concept of Sarvodaya, that is the welfare for all, and decentralization, which means that local community is given more participative role in the governance program. So Hind Swaraj, in the concluding remarks, I would like to say that Hind Swaraj forms the basis of his economic, social and political ideas. It is a moral treatise which Gandhi wrote. Okay, thank you so much.
Dear friends, due to paucity of time, we have to stop our lecture here. On that note, we would like to thank Mrs. Nutina Mehta for coming to our show and delivering this wonderful lecture. And thank you, dear friends, for watching our show. Stay tuned and keep watching. Thank you.
Thank you.